So a little bit of the schedule that is happening today: community outlines, introductions. I just introduced myself, purpose of this group, and preparation of art, instructions, and we're going to start and reflect on the project. As far as community guidelines, they're not so much rules as they are just things to keep in the back of our mind while we're here. Being ready, being present, switching on your camera if that is possible as a way to show that you're present and here, or writing in the chat here. Being kind to each other when people share, being sensitive of what they say, and how you react to it. Before you say something, always ask yourself, you know, if I said this to myself, how would I feel? I think that's one thing that helps me. But definitely try to, you know, participate when I ask questions and all that. That is, you know, I want to hear from you all. All of these things make it a pleasurable, like enjoyable kind of space to be in, and a creative space to be in, as well as a very safe space. As far as the purpose of making art, as we went over last time, it could be an opportunity to learn a new skill. So if you don't have art skills, or art is really not something you love to do, it's an opportunity to learn something new. Get creative. It is also, creativity goes hand in hand with problem solving. It can be used as a coping skill, such as like being anxiety reducing, as a mindfulness type of activity. And also, I always stress this one, it helps communicate your thoughts, feelings, ideas with others. I think I mentioned last time, and I'll mention it again in case some of you were not here last time. You know, we first think in images. You know, so we think of a parent, or you know, a house, or something like that. It's all visual, all of our memories. We dream in images and everything like that. And the truth is that words and letters and all this, they're also images. Like the letter A, it's an image. So, you know, even if you don't feel like you're artistic, you have it in you. You are a visual person. Okay, so we're trying to pull that out and seeing what we could do with it. So today the focus is going to be on creating community. Let me try to make it bigger to see if, there we go. I think it's spelled correctly, yes. Oh, okay, so preparing the art supplies, like we said, puzzle piece, the board, acrylic pen, markers, and if your board came apart, definitely bring some pencils and paper as well. If you wanted to use watercolor, you can, depending on the material that the board, the puzzle piece board is. Some people really prefer to use watercolor, so in that case, you would need water and a paper towel. So before we get started with the actual art making, just take a piece of paper, or even write in the chat anything that comes to mind when you hear the word community. Just like, let's kind of brainstorm all together. So when you think of the word, when somebody says community, what comes up for you? And together, home. We could think about this as people, places, or things, as well as images or colors or a feeling. It could be as in depth as possible. So you could write it down, you know, write it down for yourself, or you could feel free to also share out loud. So people, great. So keep it coming. Surrounding. Wonderful. These are all really awesome. Some people might think of the word community and have like an immediate feeling. Like for me, one would be safe, feeling safe, calm, celebration. For me, that would be something else. It might even be things like food, a place of worship, just thinking about like what anyone might come up with. So this is really good. So now choosing 2 or 3 of those words, we're going to create a picture that describes a sense of community. As everyone is drawing their picture, and I'm going to show you some examples, but as everyone is drawing their picture, what I have here, and I don't know if you can see my little screen, is a big piece of paper with square blocks. And I'm going to include a little bit of each of your ideas into an even bigger puzzle. Okay, so that's something else that we're going to be working on simultaneously at the same time. Next, I'm just going to show you some examples that I did. So I actually drew my own puzzle, you see, with the black outline. And then I just created, like, I think it came out to look like a mosque or something like that, a place of worship, a park, a garden. And these are just rough sketches, a community of houses. These are 3 different examples here on this page. And then I have 2 more abstract kind of ways to think about community. So I have these colorful dots and lines, making connections with different people. Maybe like, this could be like sort of like a map of like where you go in your city, or like places you visit, aunt's house, or the school, or summer camp, or, you know, your home. And this was like maybe the person, me, myself in the middle, like radiating out. Then that gave me this idea of making this kind of a mandala of like layer upon layer of like the different parts of what makes a community with different colors. So you could also approach this in a more abstract way, definitely. I wanted to share with you, because, you know, that idea of a mandala is a very common kind of diagram when we talk about community models and theories. So just a little, not that this is going to be too in-depth with a lot of schooling, but I wanted to share with you this diagram here. It's, I'm going to try my best to pronounce it, Bronfenbrenner's theory. And believe it or not, his name is Yuri Bronfenbrenner. Okay, I cannot say that for the life of me. He was a Russian-born American. He lived in Russia, and then he immigrated here with his family, and he lived mainly in New York State. He actually started the Head Start program in 1965. Anybody in the room, you could use your little reaction icons, or just raise your hand, wave at the screen. Has anyone heard about Head Start? I know Melissa has, right? It's yeah, okay, Charlene has as well. It is a program for children, and basically to give children an opportunity to learn and grow, build connections. It's also really focused on family, parent-child relationships. Kayla said that her mom was a Head Start teacher for 15 years, so you're very familiar with it, I'm sure. Isn't it cool? So 1965, we've had this Head Start program. Some of you may be familiar with it, or as you get older, you'll maybe work with the Head Start program, who knows? But it outlines the child. We could also call this the person, right? Because now I still relate to this diagram, but as a person, not a child. And then the first system here is the microsystem, is the immediate family, the neighborhood, and the school. So that is the system that the child or the person interacts with for the most part. The mesosystem is connections between family, neighborhood, and school. So it's like, it's another layer of like, well, how do people relate to each other within the microsystem? Very, very interesting. The next one is one that, you know, a small child may not be too involved with, but maybe a teenager, an adolescent, like people your age, start to be more involved with. The economic system, understanding economics, money, things like that, working. It also says education system, understanding what's happening in their education system, and even like, you know, in terms of applying for colleges and things like that. And then it also mentions government agencies, which I'm not really sure. This could relate to receiving, you know, governmental assistance of some sort. But I think in general, the government and politics start to come into play as you get to be older, get to be of voting age, understanding how that influences your neighborhood, your community, yourself. Then we have the macro system. It relates to, I guess, like what I think about these two last systems is it really just relates to like the ongoing social structure, like of your family, cultural values, beliefs, maybe religion, your customs. And then the chronos system was actually later added into this diagram. And it takes close attention on changes that have happened throughout time, including like historical events that impact you as a person, whether it's historical events like on the macro level of like history, American history, world history, as well as your own family history. And it also touches upon like, you know, physical changes that happen as people age, biological changes. So all these systems, they're not, you know, perfectly aligned like with this little cute little boundary within the circle. What I mean by that is different systems, like for someone who is very religious, so their macro system may be much more closer to their family dynamics, their family system, or their social values for some people. You know, for some people, you might really become like passionate about the education system and what you could do to change. You might want to become a teacher. You might want to pursue becoming a principal or something like that, writing a letter to your principal for some reason. So the exosystem might become really important. And of course, as this changes, you know, we would also add work, you know, for it to apply to adults, you know, work and your career into the mix. So thinking about this diagram and thinking about your initial reaction to community, did some of this come up for you guys? Like, did anything come up where you said, like, for instance, somebody on the chat said together, like, what were you thinking about in terms of together? Was it like together in a school, with your peers, with your friends, with family? Like, what system do you think that it related to? And you could write that down, or you could share out loud. And if not, it's okay. I know you guys are present and just taking it all in. So yeah, just to use the examples in the chat, like when Renee said people, now, like, to put it more, to narrow it in on what people, you know, what she meant by people, it could be people in your family, people in your workplace. So then creating like a picture, an image that related to this. Creating community is an ongoing virtue, I think, for everybody, because just as the last presenter mentioned, when you're going through something, or if somebody talks to you about a friend that's going through something, you know, and you feel like, okay, I need to act on this, that's when we turn to community. You know, coping skills are great, like listening to music, you guys mentioned, you know, all these things, art making, you know, taking deep breaths. But it's our community, it's the people in our lives that we most of the time need to turn to. 100%. Like, we're born into a community. No one is born alone. Like, that's a really strange thing to wrap our minds around, but you know, you're always with someone. And you always have to, you know, you're always in this kind of like back and forth with yourself and with others. So it's interesting to kind of start to see it like, oh, which community do I interact with the most, or which community is really important to me. Kayla says, like how in a community everything works together to function. Exactly. So if one part of our community is really struggling, like our school, then it could trickle down, right, into stress with our parents, being upset that, you know, this and this is happening at the school, and then stress with ourselves and our academics and the education system. Now that is a negative, you know, a feedback loop on community. But just know that within one of those cycles, you could be the change to kind of like, you are part of the community, right? So you could be the change to change that negative loop into a positive loop. Like, you, and I don't mean you personally, I mean you as a group, you as a as your community, right? Like you as your classmates, or your friends, or you as your family. Typically people need each other to kind of get things moving, get the ball rolling, work together. So this is really good stuff to kind of get us all thinking about this. So I think some of you might be drawing already, which is great. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen like this. Actually, before I do that, I just have one quick question. Do you all know how to use your reaction button, like on the screen? There's a little like smiley face with a plus mark. Yep. So like you could clap sometimes if somebody says something that you agree with, thumbs up, crying emoji. You have all these, like check is like yes. Like if I ask a question, you could put the check mark, like yes, I got it. Raise hand if you have a question. And then there's like two little dots, just so you know, in general, there's two little dots, and then you could actually have all these different emojis like that you could possibly think of. Like there's all these extra emojis. So this might also be a good way to interact with ourselves here in this community. So if you feel like, hey, you know, I have a question, you could raise your hand, or if you're ready to move on to the next thing, you could put the check mark. So sometimes as we get to know each other more, I might ask you for a reaction, and that's what I mean by that. All right, so here we go. So actually I was gonna ask a question right now. Do you think you're gonna do like a realistic drawing? Check mark for realistic drawing. And then my next question is going to be whether you're going to be doing an abstract type of drawing, like a more like just colors and shapes. So let's see if you could all use your reaction. Melissa, did you use it? You didn't know about the emojis? Oh, okay. So let's try it. We'll do a check mark, I mean a thumbs up like this for just a regular realistic. Ooh, I saw a rainbow reaction. And then we'll do this one like a party for abstract, if we could do it. If you guys can't do it, it's fine, but I just thought this would be a fun thing. Caitlin said check mark for a realistic one. Abigail, abstract. Aliyah, abstract. Nice, you guys are using it. Nice. Kayla, abstract. Actually, they're coming in and out, and then I can't quite see them. Oh, you wanted me to slow it down?
On the phone? Like, I know some people are on their phones. Is it different on the phone?
Yeah, it might be different on the phone. It might be like you have to pull your whole screen up, and then you'll see, you know, you could click on chat, or you could click on reactions.
On my phone, it's the same. Like the instructions you just gave to go to the three dots and then to the dots again, it gave me all the emojis, like you said.
Okay.
Cool.
Thank you.
Cool.
Thank you.
So that's a good way to interact here. I think I don't want to mispronounce the person's name. Tequita said slow down. Would you like me to repeat what I said?
It's Sagita, and I put this like emoji, thing to see what it was, but I guess it didn't disappear. So
Yeah, it didn't disappear. That's okay. I wonder if we could make it. Oh, there it goes. So yeah, that's another really good one. And Melissa, just so you know, I hope I'm not taking too much time on this. You could go back like this. It means the person needs you to repeat something.
Oh,
Or if
okay.
you're sitting there really, really bored, you could speed up. You could say, come on, let's keep going.
That's good to know. Now they're all gonna make me speed up so we can get through it quick.
But you're right. I don't know how it, like, some of them just disappear more easily than others.
Sagita said you just have to press more on the phone.
Okay, you just,
and to remove it, you just have to click it again and it'll disappear.
Gotcha.
okay, cool.
Thank
Well,
you.
all right. So we have from the people that answered, I think it's almost like half and half. Some of you
Yeah.
are going to draw like realistically. Some of you have taken to the more abstract kind of thing. So pretty cool. Let's go ahead and now I will go ahead and share. So these are the same examples that I just shared earlier, but what I'm going to do now is, for those of you that are at home and the puzzles, or maybe if you want to do more than one, I'm going to have our big group puzzle. So as you guys finish up and then send Melissa your drawings, I'm going to take like an idea from Imani or Derek, and I'll kind of make it together. I'll try my best to draw it the way that you did, so then we could like create one big picture. So this part is not going to be done today with you
Right.
present, but the way that you could do your own puzzle is to just make, to make a grid, just like I did this ahead of time. Okay. And then so I have a Sharpie black marker just so everyone could see at home, like really easily. But you just create these little half moons, or I guess half circles, on each side. So each line has to have one of these. Okay. And you could alternate, like I did 2 up, and now I'm going to do 2, like 1 down, 1 up, 1 this way, 1 that way. And it's really cool. It's a really fun thing to do, to make puzzles, because then obviously right now it's all together. But pretty soon, what's going to happen is I'm going to, I could actually cut them all out one day. I could put this in a really thick piece of board paper in the back, and we'll actually have our own puzzle, which is pretty cool. But now so I won't do every single one because that will be too boring, right? To have you guys sit through that. It's like watching the paint dry. No, but now, yeah, so now you would create lines up to the half moon. And, as opposed to going through that initial grid line, you would just create lines up to the half moon and then away. And just like this. It's something you could even do, like if you have a drawing you already made, you could take the back of the drawing and create a grid and then create a puzzle piece for your drawing.
That looks very relaxing. To me.
Really? It just keeps going and going. So like my puzzle be a lot bigger, and it's on like a piece of paper. Like I said, when it's all done, I'm gonna glue it all in, with like a backing that is like a thick piece of paper.
Okay.
Board.
Like a cereal box.
A cereal box.
Something like that.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, not too thick.
Right.
Cereal boxes are perfect for this.
So you can cut through it.
Exactly. And then it's like your own made up puzzle. That's the cool thing.
So we had 2 comments. Tagita asked if you could repeat the instructions for painting the puzzles. And then Caitlin said, are these acrylic paint pens like actual paint? I've never heard of them, and these are like blowing my mind. They are so cool.
Wow.
They are actual paint.
Yeah, so let me come back to you all. So the artwork is going to be, so we did the brainstorm about community. So if you could pull one or two different things that you mentioned about that brainstorm about community, and then turn that into something that is artistic, like a visual image. So I'm just thinking from what was said on the chat.
Yeah, for
The
Takeda.
word, yeah, there was like the word together, there was the
Okay.
word people.
Mhm.
So if you put those two words together, what kind of visualizations do you get that you could turn this into an art expression?
Mhm.
So I'll just give you an example. When I think of those two words together, I think of maybe a bunch of hands put together, right? People's hands put together, or maybe like if I want to go even more abstract, I think of like a circle. You could think of like people around a circle, and then like let your imagination take place. Like if you're thinking of people around a circle, you could even do like a scene from like a memory that you have. Like I'm thinking about, like I led a lot of summer camps where we would have every kid like hold hands in a circle. So you could even make it a more realistic example of something like that. So yeah, so definitely there's no right or wrong. It's just
Right.
whatever comes through. And everything that you make is about community, because we're very social people. We're we're always with other people. Everything relates. Like even if you made a heart, it's still about people. So and
And
about
keep in mind that when you send me your pictures, the pictures aren't due till Monday. So when I ask you for pictures, don't feel like you have to rush and hurry up. Take your time, and then you have until Monday at 5 o'clock. I'll say 5 o'clock. That's my stop. Monday at 5 o'clock, you can send me your artwork picture by phone, and that way you'll get credit for your art. And that's the cost of. From now on, just remember that you don't have to hurry up and do it today. If you get done, fine. If you don't, or if you need to do it later, just take your time.
That's awesome. I love that you guys are going for it. So as far as the paint markers, yes, they're acrylic paint. Without paintbrushes and without having to clean up all this stuff. So each paint marker set has like different things listed on the back that it could be used for. So I actually don't have the same ones that you have with you. So but generally speaking, you could use them on paper. I've done rock painting with them. Like here, I'll show you just a second. So this little kindness rock was made with the acrylic. It says love is everywhere. What else? Some of them you could even draw on glass, though I don't think you should do that.
And we're going to do resilience rocks.
Oh, you're doing resilience rocks. Yeah.
You.
So with me. Yeah. Yeah. So that day we're going to be using it on rocks. Do they also have the rocks? Did you or no?
Not yet. I'll be delivering them.
Oh, okay.
I have to find a good source for nice rocks. You have to let me know where to get rocks.
I know where to get rocks. It's
Okay.
yeah, I've done that before at Home Depot. I just don't know if they still have them, but it's not a bad idea to start looking for rocks now that we're thinking about that. Like, I mean, like even you individually, yeah, go outside and maybe you see like a nice rock and take it home with you. But yeah, so anybody want to share what they think they're making or what they already started working on? And it's totally cool just to have this time for yourselves to draw. I know you've had a busy morning, so
Yeah.
I'm making like a tree with roots coming out the bottom, and it's going to be like rainbow, the leaves.
wow, what's the symbol behind the tree, the roots, and the rainbow leaves?
Like when I think community, I thought together, and like the thing that I think about when I think together is like nature.
Mhm.
Like nature never works against itself.
Wow.
Like trees, they grow and then all the branches, they're all like intertwined and together, and it's so pretty. Like
Yeah.
if you go up to it, some people might say, oh, it's just like a chaos, just bundle up branches. But really, it's like, so then the tree can't, nobody can hurt the tree
Mhm.
because it's so strong and together.
Great idea.
That's a really strong metaphor. The idea that like the branches are intertwined, making the tree like super powerful and strong. As you were saying that, I even thought like the tree could then represent you yourself. Because remember that that diagram is also about you. It's also about, they said, the child or the person. So it's like bringing you up and like helping you feel strong, that your roots, that could even go into like the idea of roots is like family, being really strong together. Really beautiful, description of it. I can't,
Image, yeah.
yeah.
I like the idea, Kayla, too, of what you said about chaos, because sometimes your community may seem chaotic to other people. You know, they're looking at your life and your family in the way it's set up, and it's different from what they're used to. So when we talk about trauma and we talk about diversity, you know, sometimes what looks like chaos to me is community to somebody else. So that's what I heard when you described it.
I love that, Melissa. And the diagram that I shared, I did read a little bit about that, and they were saying like that even though a child can go through a lot of trauma, it does not define who they are. At the end of the day, there's all these other aspects of their surroundings that might be the thing that makes it that difference, and then there's the person themselves being resilient. So
Yes, yes.
I definitely think that's something that even if your environment or things in general, I know life in general has been really chaotic, with everything that's been going on. It's like, that chaos is not always a bad thing. It's
Right, exactly.
it's like making people motivated to work through it and like stick together.
Resilient,
Mhm.
stronger, and yeah, building
Yeah,
community. It's building more new communities.
it's building more community. It's like, hey, there's something going on and now we're gonna get stronger.
Yes.
So yeah, and it's all about coming together. Yeah, definitely. Thank you for sharing. Anyone else want to
It's
share what their
wonderful.
thought process is right now about what they're making?
People are going abstract, go with the flow. I see that. I can't wait to see these. I see it. It's like I can feel this creative energy coming through my computer. Like
Yes.
I'm so excited because you guys have so
Caitlin.
impressed me in the last 2 times that we've done the art. I was just blown away by a lot of what you came up with, the concepts, just the changes in the concepts. Sometimes I was expecting one thing and you gave me something different. I was like, wow, I never
Yeah,
thought about it like that. So keep
that
on
is
being creative. There's no right or wrong in art, and that's what I love. It's just your expression.
yes. In abstract, you could make anything you want. And it's usually as far as abstract art, it actually helps other people connect with it more because then the person applies their own take. So I'm going to use the example of a heart, right? Like the heart might mean love for my family or something, but then someone else might see the heart and think about self-love or think about LGBTQ issues. So an abstract symbol or shape or artwork sometimes is even more universal because many people can relate to it. So abstract art is a-okay for me. It is art. Everything that you make is art.
It's art. Yeah, and you created it. It's art. The as far as what you're doing, you can use the puzzle pieces or you can use paper. Some people may be like a little intimidated to do it right onto the puzzle right away. So practice on paper if you want to, or you can use the puzzle now and just create additional puzzles using the paper. So it's kind of any way you want to do it. We don't really have. I want we're teaching you about work readiness. And yes, we talk about a lot of rules and a lot of way things are done. But the reason why we incorporate art and other things that don't seem work related is because creativity is one of the most prized skills. Creativity, problem solving, most prized skills in the workplace that a lot of times you don't hear about, you don't get taught, because it's kind of like, can't teach it a lot of times. You can teach, you know, techniques and things like that, but it just comes from within a lot of times. So I don't want you to get so caught up on the rules. If what's inside of you is telling you to do something different, then do it different.
Exactly.
Yes, thank you. Oh, I can't wait, Najee.
Oh,
So
yeah,
that's what I'm
because you have a
saying, just
different idea. Nice.
have a different idea. Deborah and I are here to just give you guidelines. But
Exactly.
just like with a coloring book and with young kids, it's nothing wrong with going outside of the lines sometimes. Going outside of the guidelines, sometimes you get the best expressions when people go outside of the lines. So free yourself.
And definitely the tapping into the creativity is like, it's in all of us, but sometimes it's like not tapped into. So this is an opportunity, like for instance, Naja, like you might be doing a drawing right now about the community and about, you know, what we are all sharing and talking to today about. But now your new idea might inspire something else. So like bring that to the table. This also has to do with confidence building, like in the workplace, having the confidence to say, hey, like I have this idea, you know, like bring it up to people, the appropriate parties at an appropriate time. You know, a lot of times workplaces are looking for that. They're looking for passionate people that care about what they do, and they're bringing their own selves into the mix. So this is a way that you could practice doing that. It's a safe way to do that. So definitely. I'm just like really happy to see that you guys are excited to work with the materials, and even if the puzzle came apart, like you're working through it and problem solving, you know, maybe start out with the paper, later on, you know, get the pieces together and transfer your idea on the puzzle piece, or change the idea altogether. That's totally fine as well. So as Melissa is going to gather these ideas, that your drawings and your puzzle pieces, I'm going to use my own creativity to try to place them together. So I'm going to give you an example. So I have the community, the houses here, and then I have the abstract circle one. So I would like at this point, like I would try to put, you know, the houses here might turn, I'm sorry, the lines that I created as part of my circle may turn into a rainbow around, you know, all the way over a city, you know what I mean? Like now I'm going to use my own creativity to take all of your ideas and create like one cohesive painting. And as I do that, I also, you know, I wish we even had more time, because I could see that you guys at home could even do that as well, right? Like what would have turned into a rainbow for me might have turned into like how Caitlin mentioned, a rainbow leaf, you know. So it's, you know, it's still, you could put yourself into it as well. So all right, anyone else want to share what they're up to? We have someone coming in.
That's the next presenter.
Okay, great. Exciting. I mean, and if people are kind of ready to just transition and have a little break, that's fine too. What do you think, Melissa?
It looks like I can just feel like they're just busy, and
They're just
I
drawing.
see heads down and they're drawing. So
yeah, so it's maybe what I'll do is also
let me see if I have a little bit of last time we put music on and just let
I was gonna
them go
say
for it.
next time I could just put some music on as you guys
Yeah.